December 16, 1944. The Battle of the Bulge. American General George Patton receives an order from British Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery. Redirect your troops north immediately. Patton refuses. Montgomery insists. He outranks Patton. Patton argues back, "We're both allies. You can't give me orders." This confrontation nearly destroyed Allied command in the middle of the most critical battle on the Western Front. Over 19,000 American soldiers died in the first 3 days because Allied generals couldn't figure out who was actually in charge. The problem? American and British rank systems were completely incompatible, and nobody had bothered to fix it before sending millions of men to war. In my last video, I explained how a Navy captain and Army captain can have the same rank but totally different power. That confusion was bad. But this almost lost us World War II. Here's what you need to understand. When America entered World War II in 1941, we had a problem. Our military rank system was completely different from Britain's. Same rank names, totally different meanings. Let me show you the issue. In the British Army, a brigadier commanded about 5,000 troops. That's roughly a brigade. In the U.S. Army, we didn't even have the rank of brigadier. We had brigadier general instead. And a brigadier general commanded about 10,000 troops, double what the British brigadier controlled. Already you can see the problem. But it gets worse. A British major general commanded around 15,000 soldiers. A U.S. major general commanded 30,000. And at the very top, a British field marshal was the highest rank possible. In America, we had 4-star generals, but no equivalent to field marshal. So when American generals met British field marshals, the question became, who's actually in charge here? The answer should have been simple. Figure it out before the war starts. But that's not what happened. When America joined the war in 1941, we needed to coordinate with Britain immediately. We're talking about planning D-Day, coordinating airstrikes, managing supply lines across an entire continent. But nobody could agree on who outranked who. The British had been fighting since 1939. They had more combat experience. They thought they should be in command. The U.S. were bringing more troops, more equipment, more resources. We thought we should be in command. And here's where it gets messy. Britain created a rank specifically to solve this problem: Field Marshal. In 1943, Winston Churchill promoted Bernard Montgomery to Field Marshal. Why? Because it made Montgomery outrank every single American general. Think about that. The highest American rank was 4-star general. Britain's Field Marshal was technically higher. So now a British officer could give orders to American generals, even though America was providing most of the troops and equipment. American generals were furious. Eisenhower, who was Supreme Allied Commander, tried to keep the peace, but underneath him, generals like Patton and Bradley were constantly clashing with Montgomery. And it wasn't just ego. These disagreements had real consequences. Montgomery wanted a focused northern attack into Germany. Patton wanted a broad southern advance. They both thought they were right, and they both thought they outranked the other. In September 1944, Montgomery convinced Eisenhower to give him priority for supplies and troops. This led to Operation Martin Garden, one of the biggest Allied failures of the war. 17,000 casualties. Patton argued the entire time that Montgomery's plan was doomed. But Montgomery had the rank advantage. His strategy got priority. And when Martin Garden failed, the rank arguments got even worse. Now we get to December 1944. The Germans launch a massive surprise attack through the Ardennes forest. This is the Battle of the Bulge, Germany's last major offensive. American forces are being pushed back. Thousands of soldiers are surrounded. The situation is desperate. Montgomery, as a field marshal, takes command of American troops in the northern sector. He orders them to pull back and consolidate. But here's the problem. Patton is in the south with the Third Army. He wants to counterattack immediately and relieve the surrounded Americans. Montgomery says no. Pull back first, attack later. Patton argues that every hour of delay costs American lives. They can't agree, because the rank system is broken. Eisenhower, stuck in the middle, has to make a decision: support Montgomery's cautious approach or support Patton's aggressive attack. He sides with Montgomery, because technically Montgomery outranks Patton. But Patton ignores the order. He attacks anyway. And here's the crazy part. Patton was right. His counterattack worked. Within days, he relieved the surrounded Americans at Bastogne and turned the battle around. But it almost didn't happen, because the rank confusion nearly stopped him. 19,000 Americans died in the first 3 days of the Battle of the Bulge. How many could have been saved if Patton had been allowed to attack immediately? We'll never know. But this much is clear. The rank system nearly cost us the war. So why was the rank system such a mess? It comes down to history and tradition. Britain's military ranks evolved over centuries. Field Marshal was created in the 1600s. The rank structure was designed for a massive colonial empire with armies spread across the world. America's rank system was newer. We created it in 1775 during the Revolutionary War. We based it on the British system, but simplified it. No field marshals, no overly complex hierarchy, just straightforward ranks that matched our smaller military. For over 150 years, this worked fine. America fought its own wars with its own rank system. But then came World War II. Suddenly, we're fighting alongside Britain, France, Canada, and other allies, and everyone has different rank systems. The smart move would have been to create a unified Allied rank structure before the war. Sit down, figure out equivalencies, establish clear chains of command. But that's not what happened. Instead, they tried to figure it out in the middle of the war, and it led to constant conflicts, delays, and nearly catastrophic mistakes. After the Battle of the Bulge, American military leadership had enough. They pushed for reforms. In 1944, the U.S. created the 5-star rank, General of the Army. This was specifically designed to match Field Marshal. Now, American 5-star generals like Eisenhower, Marshall, and MacArthur were equal to British field marshals. Problem solved. Sort of. Because by then, the damage was already done. Here's what most people don't realize. This rank confusion didn't just affect World War II. It changed how America structures its military to this day. After World War II, the U.S. military completely overhauled its joint operations planning. We created the Unified Command Plan, which establishes clear chains of command when multiple services or nations work together. We also created NATO in 1949, and one of NATO's primary goals was to solve exactly this problem: make sure Allied forces can work together without rank confusion. So when American forces work with British, French, or other Allied militaries, there are detailed agreements about command structure. Who reports to who has authority over what. All of this exists because of the disasters in World War II. And here's the final twist. That 5-star rank America created, we've only used it 11 times in history. The last 5-star general was Omar Bradley in 1950. After World War II, America decided we didn't need field marshal equivalent ranks anymore. Too much bureaucracy, too much rank inflation. So we went back to 4-star generals being the highest permanent rank. But we learned the lesson. When you go to war with allies, figure out who's in charge before the shooting starts. So when we started this video asking why British generals could give orders to American generals in World War II, the answer is because nobody planned ahead. Britain had field marshals, America didn't. And when we tried to fight together, the rank systems clashed. The result? Thousands of unnecessary casualties, battles that could have been won faster, and a command crisis in the middle of the most important war in history. The rank structure we use today was designed to make sure this never happens again. Clear chains of command, unified planning, no confusion about who's in charge. But it took a near disaster to get there.